Here are my picks for today, beginning with page 8. This was our closing night gala, but you have another opportunity to see it today. This is a British film from David Hare. He's a playwright, he's a screenwriter. He wrote The Reader and he wrote The Hours, but he's also a very good director who works with his own screenplays sometimes to craft these very intricate, complex stories. In this case, Bill Nighy, who's a great comic actor, plays more of a dramatic role here as an MI5 agent, a spy for Britain, who's worked really behind the scenes for many, many years. He's a man who's very observant. He doesn't do a lot of James Bond stuff, but he's a great agent in terms of gathering information. One day, a neighbor moves in, a new neighbor. She's played by Rachel Weisz. He's a little bit suspicious of her. And then at the same time, things are happening at the office in terms of a file that has fallen into the wrong hands and includes some damaging information to the British government. All of these things begin to come together in surprising and complex ways, and the film is rounded out by a cast that includes Ralph Fiennes and Judy Davis, some terrific actors working with one of the best scripts I've heard and seen all year. Another pick for today is Caprichosa de San Telmo. This is part of our City to City Buenos Aires series. It's a documentary about the dance form and the music form known as murga, which happens in Buenos Aires. It's a street performance form based in original African rhythms. There are big drums that are used, and then these incredible costumes, kind of carnival costumes that people dress up in, and they perform in the streets on one particular day, especially in Buenos Aires. Now, Alison Murray is a Canadian who has moved to Buenos Aires. She lives there now. She's fascinated by different forms of dance. She's done incredible work with different kinds of dance films over the years. She also made a film with Ellen Page, one of the first dramas that Ellen Page made, called Mouth to Mouth. And in this case, she is interested, I think, in the passion of this dance form murga and the people who do it, who are mostly down and outers. These are not rich people in Buenos Aires, and in how their lives are expressed in this performance form. Another pick for today is called Elena. This is from Russia, and it's by the Russian director Andrei Zvyagintsev. He's made films like The Banishment and The Return. Here he's made probably his most accessible film to date. It's a story of a very wealthy Russian man who fell ill. He was in the hospital getting taken care of by a working class nurse. They fall in love. He proposes to her, but when the two of them marry, it affects both of their lives because, of course, she's from a very different background than he is. She brings her working class family into his life. He brings his very spoiled, rich daughter into her life, and there's a real clash between these two ways of living. And particularly as it plays out in contemporary Russia, where there's been so much new wealth created, you really see that tension play out in very, very interesting ways. Another pick for today is called Leave It on the Floor from Sheldon Larry, a Canadian director, but he's making this movie in Los Angeles. If you remember the Vogue scene that was in that Madonna video back from the 80s, it was in a film called Paris is Burning, a documentary. It's that world. It's the black, gay subculture in Los Angeles, the parties, the clubs, the dancing, the romance, the sex, all of that in a kind of fabulous musical setting, and with a lot of life, a lot of energy, and one particular song that you will leave the theater singing. It's a lot of fun. Another pick for today is called The Incident. This is part of our Midnight Madness program. It's your last opportunity to see it. The plot is simple. 3 band members trapped in a hospital, psychopath on the loose. Now, this is Midnight Madness, so there's some gore. It's a little crazy. It's a little crazed even at times, but it's shot and directed by Alexander Cortez, who's done music videos for U2 and for the White Stripes, so it's got a strong visual style. It's beautiful to look at, even if some of the scenes are a little shocking, but that's what we go to Midnight Madness for, so I hope you enjoy this film.